There's a 10,000 room beachfront hotel that no one has ever stayed at. A hotel so huge it stretches across a staggering 3 miles and has 10,000 bedrooms, all facing the sea. That's because this beach resort, named Prora, was built by the Nazis between 1936 and 1939 on Hitler's orders. Prora lies in an extensive bay between the Sassnitz and Binz regions, known as the Prora Wijk, on the narrow heath, the Prora, which separates the lagoon of the Kleiner Jasmunder Baden from the Baltic Sea. The buildings extend over a length of 4.5 kilometers and are roughly 150 meters from the beach. The coast offers a long flat sand beach which stretches from Binz to the ferry port. This beach was thus an ideal location for the establishment of a seaside resort. During that same period, Hitler was making preparations for war, which ultimately took priority, and the massive building project was never finished. The buildings extend over a length of 3 miles, that's 5 kilometers, and are roughly 500 feet, 150 meters, from the beach. During the few years that Prora was under construction, all major construction companies of the Reich and nearly 9,000 workers were involved in this project. With the onset of World War II in 1939, building on Prora stopped and the construction workers transferred to weapon factories. The 8 housing blocks, the theater, and cinema stayed as empty shells, and the swimming pools and festival hall never materialized. During the Allied bombing campaign, many people from Hamburg took refuge in one of the housing blocks. After the war, Prora was used as a military outpost for the East German Army, but since German reunification in 1990, the buildings have stood empty. The vast complex, designed to accommodate 20,000 visitors, was part of the Nazis' Strength Through Joy, Kraft durch Freude, KDF, program. The aim was to provide leisure activities for German workers and spread Nazi propaganda. Today, the whole place is still pretty deserted, except for a small museum and disco. Locals call Prora the Colossus due to its gigantic monumental structure. There are hundreds of empty rooms, with many windows smashed by vandals. After years of debate, the plan now is to turn Prora into a modern holiday resort, with 4 of the 5 blocks having been sold to private investors. Developers have a new vision. They want to build hundreds of holiday apartments with cafes, discos, hotels, sports halls, and swimming pools in order to attract thousands of visitors. It's so stark and overbearing, typical of Third Reich architecture. Just walking up to it must have felt oppressive. I can't believe that large complex has never had a single guest other than being used to house people during the war. It'll be interesting to see what these new investors do with the buildings. The history behind it might be a hard sell, but the location of the hotel is pretty amazing, offering a place for tourists to visit.